And we're back here at the fifth quarter in Little Chute. Our program each and every Monday night brought to you by Mole Lake Casino Resort and Conference Center. Again, during the season, transportation for our players provided by L&S Classic Limousine Service. Personal professional service for all occasions. Call 1-800-830-5933 for your reservation. Back with Rob Domowski from the Green Bay Press-Gazette, Justin Hall from AM 1570 The Score, and I'd like to welcome our new radio stations on board with us this season. WDKM in Adams Friendship, WXCE up in Amory, WACD in Anago, WFBZ in La Crosse, WDTX in Wausau, WHTL in Whitehall, WDUX-FM in Waupaca, and WKLJ in Sparta. So thanks for making us a part of your Monday nights this season. Not nearly as many questions on the offensive side of the ball. In fact, what would be your number one thing on offense?
I guess running back, only because they don't have a third running back right now. They drafted the kid Starks out of Buffalo. He was supposed to be the third guy with Brandon Jackson and Ryan Grant, and he's not going to make the team. He's going to be on injured reserve. He hasn't practiced since the minicamp with a hamstring injury. Quinn Porter kind of looked like the flavor of the month, and then he got hurt. Craig Lumpkin is back now, but he's always hurt. I just wonder, and if you're trying to put the 53 together, I wonder if there's a possibility that they only keep 4 back there, where I'm talking about 2 halfbacks and 2 fullbacks, because John Kuhn is kind of your emergency halfback at this point. Because if you're going to keep, and we can get into tight ends, but if you're going to keep all 5 tight ends, which they might, and you're going to have maybe an extra, guy on an extra corner or extra kick returner or something to that effect, you're going to have to short yourself somewhere. I just wonder if that's the way they go at running back. And but it is a weakness, I guess, at this point. But with all the weapons they have throwing the ball, Finley, Driver, Jennings, Nelson, Jones, I don't know if they have to run the ball that much.
Are they going to keep 5 receivers?
I think they'll keep 5 unless Cherry is your kick returner. Then you'll keep him as a 6th receiver. But now you've got to go find another safety, because I think you thought Will Blackman was going to be your kick returner and your 4th safety. Now you've got to find a safety. So that all is going to have to be sorted out somehow.
Is Swain?
Swain is
number 5.
He's on every special teams.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not a great receiver, but he's on all the number 1 special teams. And when you watch these preseason games and you watch practice, you can kind of figure out by who's on the first special teams unit, who's got it. Like Crabtree is on every number 1 special teams. I mean, I don't see how he doesn't make it. They don't just waste reps in practice on guys that aren't going to make it. So when a guy like Tom Crabtree is on the number 1 kickoff return, number 1 punt return, he's going to make the team.
Well, you want to talk about great character guys for your football team: Crabtree, Zombo. I mean, guys like that. I mean,
hey, they
get it.
They're good for headline writing too, because they're fun names to write.
Absolutely, they're good quotes too. They don't mind talking to us. All right, Aaron Rodgers making his coach and general manager look like a genius for basically letting Brett Favre go and seeing what they have seen in Aaron Rodgers. So let me ask both of you. Justin, we'll start with you. What's in store? What's ahead for Aaron Rodgers this season?
I think exactly what we've seen the last couple of seasons. I think that progressively getting better as a decision maker, as a playmaker as well. I think this year he's always answered that question. First year it was his durability. Came out, started 16 games. Well, then last year it was, well, he can't come from behind and win a game. Did that right off the bat against Chicago and a couple more times throughout the season. I mean, the Pittsburgh game, he took him down, got the go-ahead touchdown before the defense squandered that. So he kind of answered that question. This year it's the hold on to the ball too long. We'll see. I'm confident enough that he will go out there and do that. What I want to see from Aaron Rodgers this year maybe isn't from Aaron Rodgers, but I'd like to see people give him credit for enjoying the game. That would be the guy before Rodgers. It was always talked, he loves playing the game. He enjoys being out there. He's doing this. He's doing that. Can somebody give Aaron Rodgers credit for doing that? I mean, that guy loves the game just as much as the previous guy. He's in there on the scout team, standing in, taking reps at safety, at linebacker, things you didn't see in the past. He's pumping the fist, running down the field. The locker room loves him. I'd like to see people give him credit for more than just being a good quarterback, but being a good guy and being a good player. I think that's what's next for him.
I know MVP awards aren't handed out in August, but I had a general manager from another NFL team who said he's watched all 32 teams on tape. And he said there's probably 3,000 players playing in the NFL right now, and that he said Aaron Rodgers is absolutely number 1. He's playing the best football of any player in the NFL. Now, this was before the Indianapolis game. and said, because I guess Peyton Manning hadn't played a ton in the first 2 preseason games. He said, I know Manning hasn't played many series, but Aaron Rodgers is playing the best of anybody in the league right now. Now, does that transpire, in December and January, and can he win an MVP? I mean, he's got to be close. Now, the thing that Rodgers, needs to do and this team needs to do is get a run and, make a run in the playoffs. Just getting there is not good enough. Great quarterbacks, are made in January and February, and he needs to take that step. Now, it's only, early in his career. He's going to have a long time. I mean, I think the one thing we know now is that this guy is their quarterback for the next 8, 10, 12 years.
And the other thing, too, with MVPs, somebody always starts off at the favorite until that favorite gets knocked out. Rodgers kind of wasn't in the picture last year. He kind of worked his way up.
At least he's in the picture from the start.
When you're in the picture starting the season, you have a head start on getting
it's
that
like the
award.
whole, BCS rankings.
Exactly.
Yeah, you got to be in the top 10 to finish in the top 10.
Yeah.
I would like to just be in the top 3. I don't know that I need to be the odds-on favorite to start the season, because if he is good enough, he will get there. And I do think he's good enough. He certainly added another weapon in much improved Jermichael Finley. This guy, I think, is going to lead the Green Bay Packers in number of receptions this year.
Yeah.
And he is one heck of a weapon. And what that's going to do, too, based on the number of balls they throw to Finley, that's going to open things up for guys on the outside. I thought Greg Jennings' job as a receiver got real difficult at times last year because they doubled him and made it difficult for him to get open. I think Finley is going to open things up for those guys on the outside.
You can't double team everybody. I mean, you could play cover 2 and leave 2 safeties in the back of the field, but if you go 3 wides and a tight end, somebody's going to be single coverage and be open. And you can't take away everything. Finley, obviously is going to warrant double teams. Jennings is. Driver has shown no signs that he's dropping off. I thought Nelson and Jones have had, their best preseason so far. So I don't know who you stop on this team.
And that's what I think Rodgers does well, just like what Brett Favre did well, is they pick their weapons and they pick it based on what the defense
they're
is
not
allowing them to
force
have. And when you see the column at the end of the game, you see the stat column, there's 10 guys with receptions in it every week. Didn't used to be that way many, many years ago. Usually it's 5, 6 guys that catch passes in a game. Not that way with the Green Bay Packers right now.
Favre used to throw to Sterling when he had Sterling Sharp and nobody else. He'd throw to Sharp 10, 12 times a game.
And with that, too, I mean, when you talk about questions on the offense, I think a question for this year, too, will be that number 3 wide receiver, Jordy Nelson, James Jones. We've seen flashes of those guys every training camp. We talk about how good they are. Come season, can they put together a full 16-game season, one of those 2, get 50, 60 catches, a handful plus of touchdowns?
I don't know that there's 50, 60 catches for those guys. And it's not because they can't do it. It's just they're not going to throw to them enough to be able to do that.
Finley should get 80. Jennings should get 70. Driver should get 50. And then the other 2 guys.
I mean, if one of those 2 guys catches 40 passes, that's going to be a great year for your 3rd or 4th receiver. So the other thing, quickly with Rodgers, does he have a weakness?
Last year,
how do you stop him if you're going to stop him?
Justin mentioned, holding on to the ball, but he seemed to have gotten over that, and he's got more confidence now that he's got Tauscher back. And
where do you pressure him?
Start
up the middle?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, the one thing is if you pressure him from the side that he can see, he's just going to throw to that spot where they vacate. So, I mean, backside or up the middle. If they flood the middle, maybe. But, I mean, he's gotten so much better at getting the ball out quickly. That's one thing, obviously, Favre did well. That's what he did well against the Packers last year. When Capers did blitz, Favre just got it out in a hurry, and Rodgers has gotten better at that.
All right. Is Finley going to bury himself at any point because of his mouth?
Because his mouth, yeah. That's the only concern. I mean, literally the only concern with that guy is that his head gets too big and he does something dumb. Mm-hmm. Finley the other day, about a week ago, asked why the Packers aren't on Hard Knocks. He would love to be on. He's the very reason that Ted Thompson and Mike McCarthy would never, ever do a show like Hard Knocks, because Finley would do something dumb.
And he's the guy, if he has 80 receptions, 1,000 yards and 16 touchdowns, he's most likely to be the Darrelle Revis of Hard Knocks, too.
And I wonder if at some point in his career, somebody mentioned this to me, if that guy ever gets good, he's going to be a problem in terms of a contract situation.
Could be. Don't be surprised if some teams try to bait him a little bit this year, too. We'll see how he responds to that as well. More on the Green Bay Packers. Again, our email segment would be in the next segment. That's from the Granite Peak ski area up in Wausau. We'll tell you more about that again, get you going for our first week of the season with TJ Lang next week here at the 5th quarter. With Rob Domowski from the Green Bay Press-Gazette, Justin Hull from AM 1570 The Score. We'll be back with more after this on the Woodward Radio Network.